Hey Canada, it's Earl. A lot of you have been sending me messages about today's big announcement. Mark Carney dropping $3.8 billion on nature conservation and pushing the 30 by 30 plan. And right away, people are connecting it to 15-minute cities. Some are calling it a giant conspiracy. Others are saying I'm crazy for even linking the two. So let me be straight with you. I'm one of those guys who believes the 15-minute city agenda is real. I think it's about controlling where people live, how far they can travel, and tracking your carbon footprint until you're stuck in a little approved zone. I don't trust the smooth talk that says it's just making cities more walkable. I see it as soft tyranny dressed up as convenience. Now, is today's 30 by 30 announcement the exact same thing? Not on paper, but I'm connecting the dots because the pattern is getting too obvious to ignore. Here's what actually happened today. Carney announced $3.8 billion to help Canada hit the UN's 30 by 30 target. That means setting aside huge areas as parks, conservation zones, or Indigenous-led protected areas. Canada is currently around 14% protected, so they're accelerating hard to reach that 30% number. On its own, protecting nature sounds fine, but when you zoom out, here's what bothers me. They're locking up more and more rural and wilderness land at the exact same time governments are pushing 15-minute city designs in urban areas. The message starts to feel like, the countryside is for nature and the elite. The cities are for you. Nice, compact, walkable, and easy to monitor. They say 30 by 30 is just about saving biodiversity. But when the same people who push 15-minute cities also push 30 by 30, and both have the same 2030 deadline, and both come from the same UN frameworks, I start asking questions. Because if you restrict development and movement in rural areas, while redesigning cities to keep everything within a 15-minute bubble, what does that look like in practice? It looks like fewer options for regular people to live freely outside the approved zones. It looks like rural land becoming off-limits, while urban zones become more controlled and surveilled. I'm not saying every park or protected area is part of a master plan to herd us into pods, but when you see massive new funding for 30 by 30 land protection, simultaneous pushes for 15-minute city planning in places like Edmonton, Ottawa, and other municipalities, talk of carbon tracking and sustainable movement, all of it tied to the same global 2030 targets, then yeah, I start connecting the dots. And I think a lot of you are doing the same thing. I believe the 15-minute city concept is dangerous because it's sold as convenience but built for control. And 30 by 30, while it has legitimate conservation goals, fits too neatly into the same puzzle if the end game is limiting where average Canadians can live and move freely. I'm not a conspiracy nut who thinks every tree is a plot, but I'm also not going to pretend these things aren't happening at the same time, pushed by the same people with the same 2030 timeline. So keep your eyes open. Ask the hard questions. Don't let them shame you for noticing patterns, because if they really just wanted to protect nature, they wouldn't need to redesign how we live in cities at the exact same time. I'm Earl, just a regular Canadian who's paying attention. Thanks for watching. Stay awake.